Hey, welcome back you guys. It's been 3 years since I built this curb and I think it's time to do a little maintenance. I'm gonna grind down some of the rocks and round it over a little so I can get another year of really smooth grinds out of it because, you know, it's getting a little sticky and it does grind my trucks down really fast. So I have a cordless angle grinder with one of these grinding wheels on it, but be careful. Kids, don't just go steal your dad's tools and try and do this. This stuff takes training. And if we look at this curb, we can see that, yeah, that edge is getting a little dry. I haven't skated here in a month either because I had a strained calf muscle. So yeah, I'm gonna make this just a little bit rounder. And even though this ledge is actually really good, I feel like if we just round it a little bit more, I can get some better grinds on it. Just for fun, we'll see what happens if we grind this down and lacquer it because it's really grippy. And I haven't decided if I will do anything to this curb. Honestly, it's kind of perfect. So I'm gonna warm up and get the feel for the grinder on this side first because I don't skate it as much. I want to get a little practice in. That was actually pretty easy. As long as you don't stay in one spot for too long, should be fine. So one of the biggest problems about a grinder is that it leaves these lines that go perpendicular to the ledge. And that actually kind of acts like a file when you're grinding it. So even after you've used a grinder, a rub brick is really beneficial in kind of smoothing out those rough edges that are left by the grinder. And because this one's so good still, all I'm doing is just a quick rub brick and lacquer. So when it comes to the finish, absolutely nothing will outperform brushed on lacquer. If you guys know anything that will, let me know. But it's just the way that you can like brush it into the pores and put on such a thick coat in one coat. Because what you'll notice if you use spray lacquer is it tends to soak right in and you have to apply multiple coats. Whereas this stuff, you're able to lay a thick coat. Don't worry about doing the waxed part. Lacquer doesn't stick to wax anyways, so don't waste the stuff. This one is gloss, so it's extra shiny, so I'm using it on this curb. I have another one that's still lacquer, it'll still do the job, but it won't be as shiny as this one. And it says dry in 30 minutes, which I'd say is fairly accurate, but I'd give it about an hour in the hot sun before you skate it. If it's the winter, you could easily have to give it overnight. So this part is dry to the touch by the time I even got to the end of the curb. The worst thing about this stuff is how stinky it is. I couldn't find my proper respirator. The good news is that means I can still talk to you guys because I don't have a mask on. The bad news is it just stinks, you know? It definitely will give you a buzz. Some of you might like it and some of you might not like it. I'm not personally a fan. It's not so bad that I'm like having to reset my sobriety date or anything, but it's definitely a little unpleasant. I need an hour or two to kind of let my head settle a bit. So I'm actually on to my second coat. Once it's tacky, like once it's dry to the touch, you can apply a second coat. And I have been filling in some of these spots of bare concrete. So I mentioned you can't lacquer the wax. And it's not like you can't, you can do it and it will be slicker for that session, but it's not like it'll hold, right? As soon as you start grinding the lacquer that's on top of wax, it just kind of all mixes in or scrapes off. So it's wax that you need on top of wax. And you need the lacquer on top of the bare concrete. And I'm doing this just to give it like that second extra strong layer. I'm gonna wait about at least 2 hours before I come back and skate this, and should be good to go. So to do both sides of this curb, that ledge, this ledge, and that curb, and don't forget it was 2 coats, took about 1/3 of a can. So I had like 1 centimeter in that can, and this one was a little over half full. So it goes a long way. Okay, this is looking nice. Look at that shine on it. Just glistening. There's a nice thick coat. So this is the one I just rub bricked. So it's gonna have a bit of texture to it still. Should be just right. You know, I could grind it without the wax even, but the wax helps you not pull the lacquer off so fast. And the wax is melting like butter on toast. Whoa! It's not totally dry anywhere that it was thick. Like, it's gooey there, but all the bare concrete is dry. I can still smell it. Some of this stuff is still wet. I'm just gonna wax it. It'll all turn into a gooey, nice ledge curb. I'm actually scared of this. I don't know what it's gonna do. It slides. It definitely slides, so that's good. Grind test. I can't keep up with it. This is by far the best this curb has ever been. I mean, it was maybe this good when it was brand new, but it's been over 3 years since it felt like this. It's pretty nice. Too fast. We better try this one now. So when I look at this ledge, I'm actually not surprised that I had problems with it chipping and getting all dusty, because there's not enough rocks in there. You should see way more rocks, because the rocks are what don't break easily and they hold all the sand and cement in place. And so yeah, there's just too much sand and not enough rocks, so I'm not surprised that I sometimes have troubles with this ledge. It's just certain tricks where you come down on the edge kind of hard tend to bite. Like backside Smith grinds, nose grinds, back 180 nose grinds are kind of sketchy tricks, because if it blows that little chunk of sand and cement out, it acts instantly like chalk and it just bites. I got a bunch of gooey wax and lacquer stuck to my board. And guys, still the same setup. Must be pushing 4 months now. I did ride the dragons at Venice, but that's more like taking a pill that's prescribed by your doctor instead of like, you know, taking street drugs. I stopped when I left Venice. It's actually scary when it's this slick. I had to put that piece of wood there so I don't damage that beautiful squash. But that was a bit of a chewy grind actually. Like I can feel that it's a bit like a file. But it's pretty good. I don't see any of the sand and cement chipping up yet. So it's looking pretty good. I bet it's got potential. My base plate's not dragging as much. That's kind of nice, because it would get caught on the chunks. So this is the one I think might not actually work. Like you can really see the lines and it might just bite even worse. Actually, it's pretty darn good. That's actually going surprisingly well. What I'm worried about is when the lacquer gets worn off, I'll be left with just the really rough ledge again. If I can backsmith this, I might have faith. Hey, so I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. Most of that is just me not having good form. Somebody who has like a really solid backsmith consistently could probably do it every try on this, whereas I just need to work a little more. And today just so happens to be the day that I have hit axle. These trucks are only about 3 months old, and unfortunately the front truck is fine. I'm actually seriously starting to think about replacing my back truck before my front truck, because I go through about 2 to 1 in terms of wear. This one's kind of the same as it's always been ever since it got a bit crusty. If you're like balanced at all, it has a tendency to bite, but if you're like leaning back on your grind, it's good. And most pinch grinds are fine too. I'm only giving this a couple tries because I think it's what was hurting my calf last night. And even though it's only the second session, there's no chips showing up. Not even where I get onto it. So that's sort of the area where my truck slams onto it. And the backside 180 nose grind spot right there. No chips, right? It's gonna be way less likely to chip now that it has a bigger radius. And that's about it. The ledges and curves are doing great, feeling better than ever, except for the countertop one. That's an old countertop you guys might remember. The granite's just not that great, but I think you can see those blocks right there that I have in the background. I'm gonna replace it with those. Let's get a look at those. So these are some old blocks from the RDS park, circa like 15, 20 years ago. 20 years ago. So my goal is to build a ledge that I can more confidently backsmith on every time, something that doesn't bite. I really want to try and harness that trick. I've never gotten them dialed, but yeah, the video is basically over. I got nothing more to say. It's been a couple weeks since I filmed that at least, and everything's still doing awesome. It's actually been 3 weeks. Anyways, hope you guys are doing well, and until the next video, which eventually will be the one about that new ledge, but I have no idea what order I'll sequence videos. I have other ones too. Hope you guys are doing well. Till the next one.